Good morning. Good to have you with us on this Friday. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is on assignment. Let's begin with Simone Biles staying golden. She's already known as the GOAT, yet Biles padded her resume, becoming the only American to win the women's all-around twice. And get this, at 27 years old, she is the oldest women's Olympic all-around champion since Maria Gorokaskaya. There's some history for you. She won the first ever title back in 1952. She was joined on the podium by teammate Suni Lee, who took home the bronze after a fantastic floor routine. And the winning did not stop there for Team USA. For the first time since 1960, the men's coxless 4 rowing team took home the gold. Back on land, it was more history for Team USA, with the American women taking home their first ever foil fencing gold in the team competition. And speaking of history, Katie Ledecky officially stands alone with a silver medal in the 4x200 free. Ledecky won her 13th medal overall, making her the most decorated American female Olympian ever. All that winning, it helped pad a commanding lead in the medal count for Team USA, with France and China rounding out the top 3. We're going to have more Olympics coverage throughout the morning. Now to our top story this morning, the release of 4 U.S. residents who were wrongly imprisoned in Russia. It is the largest prisoner swap between the U.S. and Russia since the Cold War. In all, the exchange involved 24 people and 7 countries. Overnight, 3 Americans landed on U.S. soil: journalist Evan Gershkovich, former Marine Paul Whelan, and journalist Alsu Kermasheva. They're in San Antonio this morning, where they'll be evaluated at Brooke Army Medical Center. It's the same facility where WNBA star Brittany Griner was taken after she was released from Russian custody back in 2022. The Biden administration says the 4th U.S. resident released yesterday, Vladimir Kara-Murza, he was headed to Germany. That's where he's going to reunite with his family before returning to the U.S. Gershkovich, Whelan, and Kermasheva, they all arrived back in the U.S. just before midnight at Joint Base Andrews. It was an emotional reunion. They were greeted by President Biden, Vice President Harris, and many of their loved ones. Earlier in the day, President Biden let the nation know they were coming home.
Their brutal ordeal is over, and they're free. This is an incredible relief for all the family members gathered here. It's relief to the friends and colleagues all across the country who've been praying for this day for a long time.
The front page today of the Wall Street Journal, where Gershkovich works, shows him and his mother embracing. The headline simply reads, "Evan Gershkovich is free." We have team coverage ahead this hour. We're joined by NBC News correspondent Jesse Kirsch, who's outside Brooke Army Medical Center. We're also joined by NBC News reporter Matt Bodner and NBC News White House correspondent Ali Rafa. Good morning to all of you. Jesse, let's start with you in Texas, where these wrongfully detained Americans have touched down. Set the scene. What have the last few hours been like for them, and what's next for them today?
Yeah, Joe, good morning. That was their second touchdown here in the U.S. First, they arrived at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland. They were greeted by President Biden, Vice President Harris, as well as members of their family. For some, haven't seen these loved ones in years. They then took off again with their family members to come to Texas. They arrived overnight in the last couple hours in San Antonio, not far from where I am now. And as you mentioned today, according to a U.S. government official, all 3 of these now freed Americans are heading to Brooke Army Medical Center. They will participate in post-isolation support activities. That is how it is described. This is the same kind of support services that Brittany Griner received when she was freed from Russia in recent years. Paul Whelan spoke out briefly upon the group's arrival here in Texas overnight. Here's what he had to say.
It didn't feel real until we were flying over England. I'm a British citizen, Irish citizen, Canadian, and American. So as we came over England and I looked down, that's when it became real. Getting off the plane, seeing the president, the vice president, that was nice. It was a good homecoming. So looking forward to seeing my family down here and just recuperating from 5 years, 7 months, and 5 days of just absolute nonsense by the Russian government.
And again, more than 5 years later, he's now back in the U.S. here in Texas. Joe.
All right, Matt, let's turn to you. As we mentioned, this prisoner swap, it was complicated. It involved 24 people, several countries. Walk us through how this came together behind the scenes.
Thanks, Joe. Well, now the deal is done, and we're obviously learning a lot more about it. We didn't know too much previously because the sensitivity, the complexity of this, any information coming out too soon could have blown the deal even in the final moments. We're learning the Wall Street Journal, of course, leading the charge with filling in the backstory on this. And it's really incredible. So many actors, so many players in several governments, outside of government, in the media, all taking part. But really, I want to focus this on one or two people specifically. The first being Ella, Evan Gershkovich's mother, who, of course, has been his biggest champion and has essentially been running around the world for the past 18 months, lobbying various governments to try to pitch in to try to help to get her son back. Of course, a lot of efforts in Washington and New York as well. But the other character I think that's important in this story is the German Chancellor Scholz, who clearly has been thinking about a deal, was thinking about a deal, though it began in sort of a different context, and that is with the late Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny, who unfortunately in February passed away in Russian prison. We still don't fully understand what happened there, but this began more or less as a merging between efforts to get Gershkovich released by the U.S. And efforts by the Germans to try to see if there was a way to get Alexei Navalny back, with Olaf Scholz, the German chancellor, really feeling a personal connection to Navalny. Germany hosted Navalny after he almost died in Russia a few years ago from an FSB poisoning attempt. So the Germans have this relationship with Navalny, with the Navalny team, and the Russian opposition in general. So it was a merging of these two interests and a lot of lobbying by Ella Gershkovich, Evan's mother, essentially to get Scholz to fully accept giving away this Russian hitman, Vadim Krasnikov, who, of course, was plainly guilty for murder in the middle of Berlin in an extremely brazen assassination. So this was a bitter pill for the Germans to swallow, and a lot of efforts from Ella Gershkovich to convince the German chancellor that there was a way to still make a deal happen after Alexei Navalny had died. So that's really, it's interesting to see that was, as I was beginning to suspect, kind of a key piece to this story. We had heard that Navalny was part of a trade, and a trade was principally agreed around February 2nd. Navalny died 2 weeks later, and everything has essentially been worked from then to try to salvage this deal.
Just a fascinating backstory. Another fascinating thing from the Wall Street Journal explaining that Evan actually put in a request to interview Putin before leaving Russia, a journalist first, despite everything he's gone through. Ali, let's talk about the role the Biden administration played in trying to secure the safe release of these prisoners. What else are we hearing from the president?
Yeah, Joe, well, we've long heard President Biden tout his decades-long relationships with world leaders, and officials are crediting those relationships for this big puzzle coming together and resulting in this successful news. And the president says that this effort even began before he was president, when he was just president-elect, when he directed his diplomatic team to start these talks, to hit the ground running when he took the oath of office. But they say that a major milestone was hit when WNBA star Brittany Griner was released in 2022. They say that several iterations of this deal existed, like Matt mentioned, involving Alexei Navalny. And when Navalny died in Russian custody, it really knocked the wind out of the sails of these talks. But they say a major breakthrough was hit back in January when the president met with the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and really talked about how the German Chancellor held the key to this deal for those reasons Matt mentioned, with that Russian in German custody. And they say that the president involved all of these other countries, Slovenia, Poland, Norway, Turkey, which provided safe passage for these prisoners to return to their home countries. And he personally thanked them for all of their involvement, saying many of them made uncomfortable concessions in this deal. Listen to his comments here.
Alliances make a difference. They stepped up. They took a chance for us. It mattered a lot. So I'm delighted they're home. The toughest call on this one for other countries is I asked them to do some things that were against their immediate self-interest. And really very difficult for them to do, particularly Germany and Slovenia.
And we're told the final details of this deal came together in just the last 2 weeks, of course, when the president was facing one of the most difficult decisions of his political career, to drop out of the 2024 race and leave the torch to Vice President Kamala Harris, both of them saying yesterday that their work is not over and they're going to continue working to get other Americans wrongfully detained around the world back home.
All right. Jesse, Matt, Allie, thank you all. Appreciate it. For more on this, let's bring in former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, William Taylor. He's also the Vice President at the U.S. Institute of Peace. Ambassador Taylor, always good to have you with us. So this massive prisoner swap includes people who were convicted of violent crimes, cyber and financial crimes. These are tough choices for politicians. So what do you say to someone who's a critic like House Speaker Johnson, who says this exchange rewards bad behavior on the part of Putin?
Well, it is terrible behavior on the part of Putin and the Russians. There's no doubt about that. This is always a hard dilemma. This is a difficult decision for anyone to make, to release assassins and convicted criminals and hackers and money launderers, and in order to get back innocent Americans and Germans and Russian human rights defenders. So this is a hard one. But the contrast between what the Russians got back, criminals, assassins, and what we got back, or what the West got back, journalists doing their job. This is a tough trade-off, but it was certainly worth it to bring these Americans and others home.
Ambassador, even though they're home now, several other Americans, as we know, remain in custody in Russia. What is it going to take to bring them home too?
Continued diplomacy. This is the triumph for diplomacy, getting these people back, these 8 overall and 3 Americans. This is an important move, but it's going to take more in order to get these others back. It's always a question of wrongfully detained or not. And these 3 Americans were clearly wrongfully detained. It's a difficult decision to make each time. The diplomats have done a very good job, and the CIA these people have done a very good job. That's going to have to continue.
Are swaps pretty much the only option here? Is there any other way to get these people back?
The Russians are not going to let them go. The Russians have either taken them because they are troublemakers from the Russian standpoint, or so there's no pressure that we can bring economically is going to make the Russians leave. So, yes, I think it is swaps that is going to be the mechanism for bringing other people home.
All right. Ambassador William Taylor, always appreciate your expertise. Thanks for joining us this morning. Tensions in the Middle East are growing. Israel says it is on high alert following threats of retaliation from Iran, Hezbollah, and Hamas. Those threats come after the deaths of 3 high-profile Hamas or Iranian-linked figures, all killed by Israel in the last few weeks. Yesterday, Israel announced the death of a Hamas military chief, which actually happened weeks earlier during an airstrike last month in Gaza. And just this week, Hamas's political chief was killed while on a political visit to the Iranian capital of Tehran. For more, we're joined by NBC News international correspondent Raf Sanchez, who's in Tel Aviv. Raf, good morning. How are Israeli leaders responding to this trio of threats?
Joe, good morning. Israeli forces are on high alert, and they are looking out for threats from multiple directions, potentially from the north, from Lebanon, where Hezbollah says it will take revenge for the assassination of that senior Hezbollah commander, Fouad Shukr. You're seeing him on the right of your screen there. He was killed in an Israeli strike in Beirut. But Israel also bracing for the possibility that we are going to see Iranian cruise missiles, Iranian ballistic missiles, Iranian drones fired towards Israel in response to the killing of Ismail Haniyeh, Hamas's political chief, in Tehran earlier on this week. So Israel is taking this seriously. We know Israel's allies are taking this seriously. President Biden has said that there will be additional U.S. forces deployed in the Middle East to try to protect Israel. But this is a serious, serious moment right now. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said Israel will exact a heavy price in response for any aggression.
Raf, we know yesterday top Iranian officials met with representatives from its regional allies. We're talking about Lebanon, Iraq, Yemen. They discussed possible retaliation. Do we have any idea what that could even look like?
So we do, Joe, because you might remember back in April, Iran fired this absolutely enormous barrage of 300 missiles and drones towards Israel. The skies of this country absolutely lit up. Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, with that incoming fire. Now, most of those projectiles were actually shot down, not just by Israel's own air defenses, but by American forces across the Middle East, by other Israeli allies, including, interestingly, some Arab countries who have difficult relationships with Israel but played a role in defending the country. What could be different this time, Joe, is we may see this Iranian attack potentially coordinated with an attack from Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, and you could imagine the Houthis down in Yemen.
Raph, before all this week's developments, there were whispers we could be nearing a ceasefire deal in Gaza. We know President Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu spoke yesterday. Real quick, what do we know about that conversation?
So interestingly, Joe, they didn't explicitly talk, according to a White House readout, about a ceasefire in Gaza. They did talk in general about de-escalating tensions in the region. I think it's fair to say these negotiations were difficult already, but the fact that Ismail Haniyeh, the Hamas political chief, was one of Hamas's key negotiators, and he has now been killed in such a high-profile fashion, makes these talks all the more difficult. Joe.
All right. Raph Sanchez in Tel Aviv. Raph, thank you so much. Here in the U.S., voting is officially underway to make Vice President Kamala Harris the officially Democratic nominee. Nearly 5,000 delegates received their ballots yesterday. They have till Monday to cast their votes. As for former President Trump, he's facing intense backlash from leaders in his own party for his controversial comments about Harris's racial identity. NBC's Garrett Hake has the latest.
The Trump campaign facing more backlash over the former president's false claims about the racial identity of Vice President Harris. Running mate J.D. Vance defending former President Trump.
Trump's point is that she is a chameleon. She presents a different face depending on the audience she speaks to. You don't want a person like that as President of the United States.
Trump made the comments during a panel interview with black journalists.
She was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black.
Harris is the daughter of Indian and Jamaican immigrants and attended a historically black college. But Trump continuing to press his false claims in this social media post, writing, quote, "Thank you, Kamala, for the nice picture you sent from many years ago." Harris largely shrugging off Trump's comments at a black sorority conference.
It was the same old show. The divisiveness and the disrespect. And let me just say, the American people deserve better.
Republican Maryland Senate candidate Larry Hogan calling Trump's comments, quote, unacceptable and abhorrent. And this from a top Trump ally.
She's always embraced her heritage proudly, as she should.
Meanwhile, Vance with border officials in Arizona.
Kamala Harris came into office making promises, and she kept those promises to open the American southern border.
Slamming Harris for high numbers of migrants and fentanyl coming into the U.S.
There are a lot of moms and dads out there who will never see their kids walk down the aisle because of what Kamala Harris has unleashed at this border.
And our thanks to Garrett Hake for that report. Let's get to your weekend forecast. We're tracking the latest on those heat alerts that seemingly no one can escape, but there could be some hope for the east, right, Angie?
You are exactly right, Joe. Yes, we are waking up to plenty of heat alerts, and we've already rolled into August, but this has been something that we've been dealing with for basically the entire month of July. Now we're transitioning into August with more of the same, but when it comes to July, hottest July temperatures ever recorded in dozens of spots. We've got Portland, we've got Las Vegas, Bakersfield, Yuma, up into the Northeast. We've got Hartford, and of course down south, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando included in that. When we see, because July is normally typically the warmest month of the year, when we see these hottest Julys being broken year after year, that means that they become the all-time hottest month on record. Now we've transitioned into August, and we haven't seen a whole lot of relief for a lot of folks. We've still got 138 million people under heat alerts as we head into the weekend. Dallas, Houston, New Orleans, Raleigh, up through parts of the Northeast, Boston, Washington, D.C., and New York included. We've got parts of the Northwest, parts of the Southwest included, and this is going to be something we deal with for the next couple of days, at least. We're going to see temperatures out west, the actual values ending up into the triple digits, much like they have over the past couple of days. We've got 101 on tap for Salt Lake City, Rapid City at 102, high 90s for Denver. So these temperatures above normal, around 10 degrees above normal in some spots. But notice across parts of the Southwest, we've still got the really warm actual temperatures, but we've got to add that humidity in. It's making making all the difference. Atlanta expect to have a feels-like temperature later today of 100 degrees. We've got 109 in Jackson. As we get into tomorrow, your Saturday plans in Lubbock, in Phoenix, in Fresno, Salt Lake City, too, it's going to be over 100, so plan for that. Denver, not much relief for you guys either. 95 degrees for your Saturday and into Sunday and early next week. Even the East will start to see things kind of winding down back to at least the low 90s, so it'll feel a little better, guys. And at this point, we'll take what we can get, right, Joe? Dallas will still hang on to those triple digits Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Honestly, doesn't look like we're going to see a whole lot of relief in a big way beyond that. But any little improvement is going to be helpful when we're talking about 97 degrees on Monday in Memphis.
Just cooling off to the low 90s.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than
breeze.
a feels like of 110, right?
Good point.
Looking
It's all relative. All right, Angie, thank you so much. Much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, the battle over the border taking center stage on the campaign trail, as you just heard a moment ago. VP Harris defending her record. Well, Trump claims she's to blame. We're going to look back at her history in addressing the crisis. Up first after the break, outrage and defiance over the controversial killing of Sonia Massey. Why the sheriff says he is not stepping down. We'll be right back.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.